My friends, have you ever noticed how trees grow? They don't make noise when they grow. They don't shout, "Look at me, I'm getting taller." They just grow. Silently, patiently, consistently. And one day everyone sees their shade, their strength, their fruit. The same is true for us. We don't need to announce our progress. We need to build ourselves quietly until our results speak so loudly no one can ignore them. Protect your vision. This is where everything begins. Most people fail before they even start, not because they don't have dreams, but because they expose them too early. When you share your deepest desires with the wrong audience, you invite noise, doubt, and unnecessary opinions into something that is still fragile. Imagine a small seed freshly planted in the soil. If you dig it out every few days just to show people that it's growing, it will never survive. The same happens with your dreams. They need protection, darkness, and time before they can see the light. When you're building something meaningful, not everyone will understand it. Some people won't believe in you. Others will question your choices. And some will secretly hope you fail. That's why you must learn to protect your vision like a sacred flame. Keep it small, keep it steady, and let it grow in silence. Don't announce every move. Don't seek applause for every effort. The early stages of success are not meant to be broadcasted. They're meant to be built. Quiet progress doesn't mean hiding forever. It means you trust the process enough to not need validation at every step. When you stop talking about your plans and start working on them, you'll notice something magical. Your energy shifts. You stop wasting time convincing people and you start proving things through action. The world respects results, not intentions. Think about an artist. Before anyone sees the masterpiece, the artist spends hours alone with the canvas, experimenting, failing, repainting, improving. Nobody claps for the brushstrokes. But when the art is finally revealed, everyone is amazed. That's how your life should be. Quietly painted with patience, consistency, and faith. Protect your vision not just from others, but from your own impatience. Sometimes the biggest threat to your growth isn't the outside world. It's your own desire to show progress too soon. Let the roots grow deep before the tree stands tall. What's built in silence has the strength to survive any storm. So guard your dreams with grace. Speak less about what you'll do and focus more on who you're becoming. Let your work speak in whispers until the day comes when it roars on its own. Because when your vision is protected, your purpose becomes unstoppable. Discipline over drama. This is the silent power that separates dreamers from doers. Most people get excited by the idea of success, but few have the discipline to chase it every single day. Everyone wants to grow, everyone wants to shine, but when it comes to the small, unglamorous, daily actions, most people give up because discipline is not exciting. It's quiet, it's repetitive, it's invisible, but it's the only thing that truly builds you. We live in a time where drama is louder than dedication. People love to show effort, but not actually make it. They post motivational quotes, but skip the hard work behind them. They talk about routines, but never follow them. Discipline doesn't need to be displayed. It's a private promise you make to yourself. A sacred contract that says, "I will show up even when I don't feel like it." Real growth happens in those silent moments when nobody is clapping, when you feel tired, uninspired, and unseen. Yet you still choose to do what needs to be done. That's discipline. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. Doing one thing well every day, even when it feels boring. The gym isn't glamorous when you go daily. Reading isn't impressive when nobody's watching. Meditation doesn't make headlines. But over time, these quiet acts build a foundation that no amount of drama can shake. Drama, on the other hand, is addictive. It gives you temporary attention, temporary excitement. It feeds your ego but starves your growth. The world today rewards noise, flashy success, loud opinions, constant updates. But the truth is, those who are truly growing are too busy working to talk about it. They are not trying to prove, they are trying to improve. Think of the sun. It rises silently every morning. It doesn't announce itself. It just shows up every single day without fail. And because of that, life continues. That's the essence of discipline. You show up even when no one's watching, and in time, your consistency becomes your identity. Every time you choose discipline over drama, you strengthen your inner character. You teach your mind to follow through instead of follow feelings. Feelings fluctuate. Some days you'll feel motivated, other days you won't. But discipline keeps you steady, like a lighthouse in a storm. It gives you direction when everything else feels uncertain. So the next time you're tempted to impress people with effort instead of results, pause. Let your silence be your statement. Keep working. Keep moving. Because the loudest success stories are written in the quiet hours when nobody's watching. And one day, when your discipline finally bears fruit, the same people who ignored your silence will be astonished by your growth. In the end, discipline will always outlast drama. Because drama fades when attention shifts, but discipline creates results that last forever. Let your results make the noise. This is one of the deepest lessons life can teach you. In a world where everyone is talking, the one who acts stands out. People will doubt you, criticize you, misunderstand you, and even ignore you. That's okay. You don't need to argue with them. You don't need to convince them. You don't need to prove them wrong with words. Just let your actions do the talking. The truth is, noise fades, but results echo. When you quietly focus on your craft, your purpose, and your growth, something remarkable happens. You begin to rise above the noise. You stop needing validation because your work becomes your evidence. The world may not notice you at first. They may think you're doing nothing. But while they're busy talking, you're busy transforming. And one day, when your results appear, they'll have no choice but to see what silence built. Think of a seed again, buried deep in the earth, unseen and unnoticed. For weeks, maybe months, nothing seems to happen. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, foundations are strengthening, and a life is quietly preparing to bloom. Then, one day, that tiny seed breaks through the soil, and suddenly, everyone notices. They see the flower, but they never saw the struggle. They admire the growth, but they miss the patience. That's how your journey will be. Let your results be your response to doubt. When people question your abilities, don't defend yourself. Deliver excellence. When they mock your ideas, don't argue, execute. When they don't believe in you, don't complain. Keep going, because nothing silences criticism like undeniable success. You don't win arguments by talking louder. You win them by doing better. There's incredible peace in being silently confident. You don't need to post every win. You don't need to show every move. The moment you stop chasing validation, you start attracting respect. People are drawn to those who don't need attention, because confidence that comes from results, not noise, carries a different kind of energy. It's calm, it's grounded, it's powerful. Look at the most successful people. They're often the quietest in the room. They don't waste energy explaining their worth. Their work speaks for them. Their results enter the room before they do. That's the level of mastery you should aim for. Let your excellence be your voice. Let your results be your reputation. There will be times when you feel invisible, when your hard work goes unnoticed, when it feels like nobody cares. Don't let that discourage you. Remember, every diamond was once hidden in darkness, every sunrise starts in silence, and every success begins unseen. Your results will come not when you talk about them, but when you've earned them. So keep moving quietly, build in silence, master your craft. Don't worry about who's watching, because when the results finally appear, they'll speak so loudly, they'll drown out every doubt, every judgment, every word ever spoken against you. And in that moment, you'll realize the most powerful sound in the world is the sound of your success being heard after years of silence. Learn when no one applauds. That's where real transformation begins. When there's no clapping, no cheering, no recognition, that's the moment your character is truly tested. Because anyone can keep going when they're being praised, but it takes a deeply grounded soul to keep learning, growing, and improving when no one even notices. In the silence of your journey, you will face moments where your effort feels invisible. You'll study for hours, create something meaningful, work hard every single day, and still no one will say a word, no validation, no applause, just silence. That silence can be heavy. It can make you question yourself. Am I even progressing? Does this matter? Is it worth it? And the answer is yes, 1,000 times yes. Because the quiet moments of effort are where the strongest foundations are built. Think about the caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly. When it goes into its cocoon, it's completely alone. Nobody sees its struggle. Nobody claps for its transformation. In that stillness, in that darkness, it's breaking, rebuilding, and becoming something new. And when it finally emerges, people admire the beauty, but they forget that all of that was built in silence. The same happens to you. The world sees your glow up, but it never sees your grind. Learning when no one applauds teaches you the purest form of motivation. Self-motivation. You're not doing it for applause anymore. You're doing it for growth, for discipline, for purpose. That's where maturity begins. When you stop needing acknowledgement and start seeking improvement for its own sake. Because when you truly love growth, applause becomes irrelevant. The greatest athletes, thinkers, and leaders all learned in silence. They practiced long before anyone knew their name. They failed thousands of times before their first success. But they didn't stop because no one clapped. They kept going because they knew every lesson, every setback was shaping them into who they needed to become. When no one applauds, you have two choices. Give up because no one notices, or grow because you notice. Choose the second one. Because when you're your own cheerleader, your own teacher, your own supporter, you become unstoppable. You no longer depend on the world to keep you going. You generate your own light. And here's the truth. The reason many people never reach greatness is because they quit in silence. They think if no one's watching, it doesn't matter. But it's the opposite. The unseen hours are what make you who you are. The world only sees the performance, not the practice. But the practice determines everything. So learn even when the world is silent. Read the book when no one's recommending it. Practice the skill when no one's impressed. Reflect, improve, fail, and rise quietly. Because one day, when you finally succeed, people will call you lucky. They'll see the moment, not the months. The result, not the resilience. And when that day comes, You'll smile not with pride but with peace, because you'll know that everything you've become was shaped not by the applause of others, but by the lessons learned in silence. The quietest rooms, my friend, truly do teach the loudest lessons. Silence the ego, because if there's one thing that can destroy even the most beautiful progress, it's the voice of pride whispering inside you. The ego is sneaky. Tells you that you're better than others when you're not. It tells you that you've done enough when you haven't. It tells you that you deserve recognition even before you've earned it. And if you don't learn to quiet that voice, it will turn your growth into performance and your purpose into competition. When you build yourself quietly, the ego becomes your biggest obstacle, because silence doesn't feed it. Ego craves attention, applause, validation, and comparison. It wants to be seen. It wants to be heard. But true strength is when you can do great things and still not need to talk about them. When you can help, give, build, and grow without needing the spotlight. Because the moment you start doing things just to be seen, you stop doing them for the right reasons. The ego will tell you that humility makes you weak. But that's a lie. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. It's understanding that you're a part of something bigger, that your value doesn't increase just because others notice it. In fact, the more you achieve, the more humble you should become, because success without humility is like a tree without roots. It looks strong for a while, but one strong wind can bring it down. Silencing the ego doesn't mean suppressing your confidence. Confidence is quiet, ego is loud. Confidence says, I can do this. Ego says, only I can do this. Confidence focuses on the goal, ego focuses on the glory. The moment you begin working for glory, you lose the grace of your growth. That's why spiritual teachers, thinkers, and wise people always talk about humility, not as a moral lecture, but as a survival skill for success. Imagine a mountain. The higher it rises, the quieter it becomes. At the peak, there's no noise, no crowd, no chatter, just stillness. That's what real growth feels like. As you climb higher in life, fewer people will understand your journey, and fewer words will be needed to explain it. But your ego will try to pull you back into noise. It will tempt you to prove, to show, to boast. Resist that temptation, because every time you boast, you lose focus. Every time you show off, you step away from your true path. The ego wants you to compare, to measure your worth against someone else's success. But comparison is a thief of peace. When you compare, you either feel superior or inferior. Both are illusions. The only person you should compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. That's how you silence the ego, by focusing on progress, not position. When you silence your ego, you start hearing something else, your inner voice, the calm, grounded, wise part of you that doesn't need approval to feel worthy. That voice is soft but strong. It guides you toward peace, purpose, and authenticity. The ego shouts, wisdom whispers. Learn to listen to the whisper. And remember, humility doesn't mean you hide your light. It means you shine without blinding others. You can be confident and still kind. You can be strong and still gentle. You can be successful and still silent. The most powerful people are not the loudest. They are the calmest, the most centered, the most self-aware. So, when success comes, and it will, stay humble. When praise comes, smile, but don't let it define you. When people talk about your greatness, remind yourself that you're still learning, still growing, still human. Because the moment you think you've arrived, your journey stops. Silence the ego and you'll find peace. Silence the ego, and you'll find clarity. Silence the ego, and you'll build yourself not just higher, but deeper. True greatness, my friend, is not measured by how loudly you shine, but by how silently you grow. Choose peace over popularity, because in a world obsessed with attention, peace has become a rare treasure. Everyone wants to be noticed, liked, followed, and approved, but the pursuit of popularity often comes with a heavy cost. Your inner calm. You start saying things you don't mean, doing things that don't align with your values, and chasing validation that never truly satisfies you. You lose yourself in trying to please others. But peace is the opposite. Peace doesn't need an audience. Peace doesn't demand applause. It's quiet, it's steady, it's yours. The truth is, popularity fades as quickly as it comes. People's opinions are like the wind. They change direction every day. Today they'll cheer for you. Tomorrow they'll forget you. If you depend on their approval to feel good about yourself, you'll spend your entire life running after something you can never catch. But if you build your self-worth on peace, on inner stillness, on truth, no opinion can shake you, because your value no longer comes from how the world sees you. It comes from who you know yourself to be. We've been conditioned to believe that being known equals being successful. But there's a difference between being known and being worth knowing. Popularity is about image. Peace is about integrity. Popularity is how loud your name sounds. Peace is how deeply your heart rests. You can have millions of followers and still feel empty. You can have a crowd cheering for you and still feel lonely. Because popularity fills your surroundings, but peace fills your soul. When you start choosing peace over popularity, you begin to notice how powerful it feels to say no. No to drama, no to gossip, no to fake connections. You stop chasing attention and start protecting your energy. You realize that not every invitation deserves your presence, not every argument deserves your voice, and not every opinion deserves your reaction. Peace is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's understanding that silence is sometimes the most powerful response. Popularity will tempt you with speed. Grow faster, be louder, be seen. But peace invites you to slow down, grow deeper, stay grounded, stay real. And that's where true success lies. Because when your mind is calm, your actions become clear. When your heart is peaceful, your decisions become powerful. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop performing and start living. Think of a calm lake. When the surface is still, it reflects everything around it clearly. But when it's disturbed, everything becomes distorted. That's how your mind works. When you chase popularity, you create ripples of restlessness. When you choose peace, clarity returns. You see yourself as you are, not as others want you to be. Choosing peace doesn't mean you isolate yourself or stop caring. It means you choose authenticity over approval. You speak your truth kindly, even when it's not popular. You stand firm in your values, even if it costs you attention. Because peace will always outlast popularity. A person at peace sleeps better, loves deeper, and walks lighter. A person chasing popularity never stops running. Remember this, the world will forget your name faster than it learns it. But if you live with peace, your presence will leave an impression deeper than fame ever could. The people who truly matter will value you not for how many follow you, but for how safe, calm, and genuine they feel around you. So, choose peace. Every time your ego says, I want to be seen, let your soul whisper, I just want to be still. Every time the world pressures you to prove yourself, remind yourself that peace is the ultimate proof of strength. When you're at peace, You don't need to shout to be heard. Your calm becomes your statement. At the end of your life, it won't matter how many people knew your name. What will matter is how peaceful your heart was. Because peace is not just a feeling, it's freedom. Freedom from needing to be liked, freedom from proving your worth, freedom from the noise. And once you taste that freedom, you'll never trade it again, not even for all the popularity in the world. Be humble in growth, because success without humility is like a tree without roots. It might stand tall for a moment, but the first strong wind will bring it down. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself. It's about remembering who you are, no matter how high you rise. It's about understanding that your talent, your achievements, your strength, they are gifts. And gifts are meant to be used to serve, not to show off. In the early stages of growth, humility is natural. You're still learning, still failing, still uncertain. But as you start succeeding, as people begin to praise you, follow you, and admire your work, that's when humility is most tested. The more recognition you receive, the easier it becomes to forget what got you there, the struggle, the sleepless nights, the self-doubt, the small beginnings. And the moment you forget those roots, arrogance quietly takes over. You start believing you're untouchable. You stop listening. You stop growing. Because pride convinces you that you've already arrived. But the truly wise, the truly strong, remain humble, not because they think less of their success, but because they never forget how fragile it is. They know that one bad decision, one wrong word, one moment of ego can undo years of effort. So they stay grounded, they stay kind, they stay teachable. They keep learning from everyone, no matter how small or inexperienced the person might seem. Because they understand that knowledge can come from anywhere, and humility is what keeps you open to receiving it. Think about the bamboo tree.